Hi, Keith here from Academy of Bass. Thanks for joining me. There are loads of things that we play on bass that sound great. That's why they become cliches, and so many bass players use them. Today I'm looking at one of those examples, and it's used in pretty much every style of music. It's called a double stop. But what is a double stop? Well, simply put, it's just two notes played together. Now, that label can be given to any two notes that are played together. And there are lots of two-note combinations that sound great on bass, but in this lesson I'm looking at two specific notes that are played almost exclusively over a 7-chord, a dominant 7-chord. Now, there's a completely free PDF workbook for this lesson. It's got all of the bass lines that I'm going to be playing notated in both standard notation and tab, and I'm going to be using a handful of different backing tracks throughout this lesson. I've included them all as part of the download, so make sure that you grab a copy of that. Please feel free to support the channel by subscribing, and if you enjoy this lesson, give it a thumbs up. It really does help. If you're not sure what a dominant 7-chord is, it's basically a major chord. So from this G we get G, B, D, or root 3rd and 5th. To get a dominant 7-chord we just add this G, B, D, this F, which is a flattened 7th. So now we've got root 3rd, 5th, flattened 7th, or G, B, D, F. The dominant 7-chord's a brilliant sounding chord, and that's why it's used everywhere. But the other great thing about it is that we can use so many different harmonic devices to play over it. It really is a versatile chord. Played the double stops in two different ways there. I let the notes ring out and I also detached them slightly. Now that second variation isn't technically a double stop because I'm not playing both notes at the same time, but it's still a really nice use of the two notes. I also played them in lots of different places. I started from the 15th fret of the D string. I also started from the 9th fret of the D string where the notes change round, and the 3rd fret of the D string where they change round again, and also from the 8th fret of the A string. But I could have played them from lots of different places. I could have played them from the 2nd fret of the A string, or the 1st fret of the E string, or the 7th fret of the E string, or the 13th fret of the E string, or the 14th fret of the A string. Now, some of those lower variations obviously aren't going to sing out a lot, but they're really nice to use as part of a bass line. If you're a fan of open strings, there's a really easy way to get this sound. So if I play open E and slide into the 11th fret of the A string, that's my 3rd of E, which is G sharp. The flattened 7th D is at the 12th fret of the D string. Similarly, if I play open A and slide into the 11th fret of the D string, that's my 3rd C sharp, and the flattened 7th G is at the 12th fret of the G string. The next natural thing to do is add a 2nd chord to our G7 chord. So I'm going to add a C7 chord, and using the formula that I showed you just a minute ago, I'm going to play C here at the 8th fret of the E string. From there, there's the 3rd or the 10th, which is E, and there's the flattened 7th, which is B flat. So this is the double stop. So I'm at the 8th fret of the D string there. Now if I count 6 frets down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the notes change order, so we get E and B flat. From this 8th fret here, if I count 6 frets up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we get E and B flat, so the change order again. Obviously, I can play these notes in lots of different places, but let's have a listen to how they sound. was played over a typical blues chord progression in the key of A, and don't forget everything that I'm playing is in the free PDF for this lesson, so if you haven't already downloaded a copy of that, make sure you grab a copy. I tried to give you a different perspective on a blues bass line. I played over A, the first chord, and this is what I played. So I played an A root note, then it was C the flattened third into C sharp the major third. That's an iconic movement. Then it's E the fifth and F sharp the sixth and A the root. That's just an A major pentatonic scale. From this A I jumped to C sharp the third at the 11th fret of the D string, then G the flattened 7th at the 10th fret of the A string, and that's the double stop. Played exactly the same thing over D. And over the turnaround at the end I played something different again. So over E I played this. So I played E the root note, G the flattened third into G sharp the major third, that classic movement again, and B the fifth. That's basically an E major chord arpeggio. From this B I jumped to G sharp the third at the 13th fret of the G string, then it's D the flattened 7th at the 12th fret of the D string. That's the double stop. Same thing over D. But don't forget these double stops work equally as well when played in a rock style too. This time I'm playing an E over an E7 chord, but again I try to show you a bunch of different ways to use the double stop. The main riff that I played was this. Started with open E, then it's the octave E at the 7th fret of the A string. Then we've got A, hammering on to B, then it's D, and back to B. From here we've got E at the 7th fret of the A string, sliding into G sharp. That's the third at the 11th fret of the A string. Then we've got the flattened 7th D at the 12th fret of the D string. That's the double stop. The second time through I played a variation of that. From the E I played D the flattened 7th into G sharp the third. Now I could have let those two notes ring out, but it's low down and it sounds a little bit muddy, so I detached them. The third time through I repeated the main riff. And the fourth time I played this. So from the E I played G the flattened third into G sharp the third into D the flattened 7th. So you can see that within the double stop there are lots of different variations that you can play. There's one thing that I haven't mentioned so far, and I'm hoping that I've saved the best to last, because this is going to give you three great things to play. The first is based on a theme that I've been using throughout this lesson, and it's the movement from the flattened third to the major third of a chord. So if I take this G root note, the flattened third is B flat, the major third is B. That's a great sounding double stop. It's not the double stop that I've been using in this lesson, but in a minute I'm going to play a variation on that that's really going to tie in with the double stop. That's in the PDF, so if you want to know what I played, make sure you grab a copy of the PDF. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tie that movement from the flattened third into the major third in with our double stop. So from this flattened third I'm going to play the double stop shape and slide it up one fret. So if I play G and slide that in, sounds nice. It's a bit muddy down there, but if I take it up here to the 15th fret, sounds really nice. But in the same way that we can slide into the third, we can also slide into the flattened 7th, which is the other note in our double stop. So the flattened 7th of G is F. Here at the 10th fret of the G string, if we move one fret back, we can slide into that using the double stop. So I'm going to play two different bass lines now. I'm going to feature these slides into the third and into the flattened 7th. I'm going to play the flattened third to third motif that I spoke about just a minute ago in a different way. Don't forget that is in the PDF. And I'm going to play a third idea that I think you're really going to like, and it's really funky. third thing that I played in that bass line was this wobble. How funky does that sound? It just makes me smile every time I play it or I hear it because it sounds so great. So I'm playing over a C7 chord, and from the C root note I'm sliding up into B flat, the flat and the 7th, then it's E the 3rd and back down to the B flat. But when I come back down to the B flat, I'm moving from B flat to A, the fret below, to get a really broad wobble. I hope you agree with me that these double stops sound absolutely fabulous. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.